What's up, guys? It is I, once again, Yusuf Al-Saned, and today, guys, I want to talk about and review the 2014 period drama slash thriller, The Keeping Room, which was directed by Daniel Barber, and the screenplay was written by Julia Hart, and the story takes place in 1865 during the dying days of the Civil War, a war filled with so much cruelty, death, chaos, and utter despair. And the crueler the war gets, the sooner it will end. That is the tagline to The Keeping Room, Daniel Barber's The Keeping Room, which is absolutely fantastic, guys. I love this film so much, and it's one I really am glad to have seen. I'll tell you why. The Keeping Room, like I said, takes place in 1865, and we follow the story of three ladies. Britt Marling plays Augusta, Haley Steinfeld plays Louise, and the actress who I'm not familiar with plays Mad. All three of them are ladies who are living in one roof, one big house basically, and their keeping room, which is essentially a kitchen where they hang together, cook food, eat, and talk with each other to kill time during the time of war. Since the mother of Augusta and Louise have passed on to a better life, the afterlife that is, and their beloved father and brother, Nathaniel, that's their brother's name, have gone on to the war. They've both enlisted in the war to fight for the Union Army. For you guys and gals who don't know what the Civil War was about, it's basically the Union Army or the Yankees going toe-to-toe against the Confederates, who are the enemies. Basically, they are a Republican force that oppose the Union, and the Union being the Democratic force, and they're fighting for supremacy over the United States of America. A time in the United States of America which is very cruel, very harsh, and is completely empty of hope. There's no life to be found in this world because most of the men have enlisted in the army and they have left their wives, their sisters, their mothers behind, leaving them with no one to care for them or to protect them from unknown dangers that may befall on them. And those unknown dangers, in the case of Augusta, Louise, and Mad, are these two men. These two Union officers have been sent by the Union Army to hunt down survivors and deserters, and whoever the survivor or deserter may be, they gun them down in cold blood. That's only a fragment of how cruel and harsh this time was. A time during the Civil War, and how America was still evolving to becoming a free country, a country filled with the constitutional rights. Daniel Barber's The Keeping Room focuses on the three ladies, however, those ladies being Augusta, Louise, and Mad, and the danger that's to arrive in the household of Augusta, Louise, and Mad. And with all the men in their lives gone, with no one to protect them, they have to defend themselves against these two Union officers who are coming into their home, and it's very likely they're going to rape and kill them, just like they did the first two women early on in the film. Not while they can stand on their own 2 feet, defend themselves, their home, and each other. They have no choice but to become the men of their own house, despite being women, and that's a huge theme in the story. It's how women have to take on the roles of the men. It's heavily emphasized by Augusta as she was having a conversation with Mad in the keeping room, on the dinner table of the keeping room. Their conversation about how men are enlisting in the war and how they are fighting in a war in which they are likely to die, leaving the women as widows and them having to take on the roles of men. That is the central theme of The Keeping Room. It's about how women take on the roles of men and how they can defend themselves, and they have to learn to defend themselves in a time which is very cruel to women especially. It's commonly said that men are physically superior to women. I personally don't believe that. That is the common saying, however, and during this very cruel, harsh time, women have to learn to defend themselves so they can survive and they can make it through another day until the war is over and start a new life, knowing that there's a better future for not just them, but their country, the United States of America, and how things can get better no matter how many obstacles that stand their way. And that includes the three ladies, Augusta, Augusta, Louise, and Mad. All three of the ladies are so magnificent in their roles, including Britt Marling, who plays Augusta so well. I absolutely love both she and Haley Steinfeld, who's actually the main reason I watched this movie. Haley Steinfeld as Louise is absolutely fantastic. Haley Steinfeld is among my top 5 crushes. I love her so much. She, Angelina Jolie, Elle Fanning, Adele Exarchopoulos, and Léa Seydoux, in my personal opinion, they are an example of 5 of the best actresses working today in cinema. And Haley Steinfeld, guys, I have the biggest crush on her. I mean, every time I see her on screen or when she produces a new music video, yes, you heard me, Haley Steinfeld is a musique artiste. Oh my god, I love how I say musique artiste like I'm a French boy. I love French, what can I say? I've lived now for like 26 years of my life, and those 5 crushes are just 5 of many crushes I have. I do not doubt for 1 second that before my time on this world is over, I'm going to have like a bajillion crushes. That's how mad I am. I'm not familiar with the actress who plays Mad, but she is so good in her role. I love the depth to her character and her backstory concerning this man who she loves, that man being Bill, who was once a slave like her before he was free and he joined the Union Army. And 2 of the Union officers who are terrorizing the 3 ladies, they include Sam Worthington and this other actor who I don't know what his name is, but they played the 2 Union soldiers. Sam Worthington, you guys and gals might know from James Cameron's Avatar. It's very interesting to know that Sam Worthington, whose character is Moses, named after the baby Moses, and his obsession towards Augusta. And you can tell by their names, Moses and Augusta, and how their lives could have turned out differently, which he brought up himself, how things could be very different if the war didn't take place and they weren't terrorizing them, the 3 ladies, and they could have been together as a happy couple. And this makes her very sad because deep down Augusta does believe she could have had something with this man had they met on different circumstances without the war. I am so glad the screenplay to The Keeping Room was written by Julia Hart, and it's very important you tell the story from a female perspective. And Julia Hart wrote the story so well. She gave them personality, conflict, depth, and she made them so real, and their transformation from being helpless to becoming strong, independent women who count on themselves and defend themselves against all odds. It is very crucial you have a female writer, a real female writer who can tell this story from her perspective, the female perspective, and not have the screenplay written by a man, because guys, men don't understand what real women are. You cannot have a man define what makes a woman exactly how you cannot have a woman define what it means to be a man. Both genders deserve equal respect. For so long, women have been discriminated because of their gender, because of the fact that they are women, and we've come a long way since the bad days of Hollywood. It really does sicken me, as I imagine it sickens a lot of women, how Hollywood, even now, even though we come a long way, can be very sexist in the way they portray their women. But thank God we have movies like The Keeping Room, which portray women in a very good way. And once again, it's very important you have the story be written by a female writer who brings her perspective in the story, her perspective as a woman. I cannot give enough praise to The Keeping Room for being one of many movies nowadays that portray women as strong, independent, and having such great actresses in Haley Steinfeld, Britt Marling, and so many other actresses who play those strong female characters. But you also have a good story, great direction, and a truly emotional core, that being the bond between the 3 ladies and them watching out for one another. The Keeping Room is so fantastic. I really do love the film, the soundtrack, the editing, the cinematography, the writing by Julia Hart, and of course the direction by Daniel Barber. It's all so good. It's a really fantastic film, and one I believe you guys and gals will like. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe if you wish, and do check out my gaming channel where I do let's play series, gaming content, all that kind of good stuff. Until next time, peace out, take care, adios, amigos, au revoir, and sayonara.